Leeds United fans, what's up, Whites? The faithful supporters of Elland Road. Listen up, because I've got three absolutely mental pieces of news that are going to shake the very foundations of our beloved club. And trust me, when I tell you what's happening right now, you're going to lose your minds. We've got a situation developing that involves a Newcastle midfielder who's been on our radar for ages, a striker saga that's going to cost us more than we paid for Rudder, and a German international who's literally sitting on the bench right now waiting to find out if he's coming to Yorkshire. I'm talking about moves that could either launch us straight back to the Premier League or leave us wondering what the hell just happened with our transfer strategy. The first story involves a midfield maestro who's finally agreed to join us after Daniel Farke has been chasing him for what feels like an eternity. Then we've got news about a striker bid that's so massive it'll make your head spin. We're talking Jorginho Rudder money here, Whites. And finally, there's a development happening right now as I speak, with a player literally warming the bench in Germany while his future hangs in the balance. Before we dive into this chaos, smash that like button if you're ready for the truth about what's really happening at Elland Road. Hit subscribe and ring that notification bell because you do not want to miss any updates on this developing story. The Whites are in for one hell of a ride. Are you ready to find out which midfielder has finally said yes to joining our promotion push? Let's get into it. Right, Whites, here we go. The man I was talking about is none other than Sean Longstaff, and after what feels like the longest transfer saga in Leeds United history, we finally got our man. Newcastle United have accepted our $15 million bid, and I'm telling you, this is the signing that could change everything about our midfield. Longstaff has been Daniel Farke's #1 target for what feels like forever. Remember last summer when we were all dreaming about him joining if we'd won that? Playoff final? Well, guess what, Whites? Dreams do come true just a year later. After Newcastle rejected our initial $12 million bid, we came back stronger with $12 million plus $3 million in add-ons, and they couldn't say no. This lad brings 171 Premier League appearances to Elland Road. Let that sink in for a second. 171 games in the top flight. Meanwhile, our current midfield options have just 26 Premier League games between them. That's the difference between boys and men, and Longstaff is exactly what we need to get back where we belong. The 27-year-old is flying in from Newcastle's training camp in Austria this weekend to complete the deal. Can you imagine the scenes at Elland Road when he walks through those doors? This is a player who knows what it takes to survive in the Premier League, and he's choosing US over everyone else. But what makes this signing even more special is the timing. We lost Joe Rothwell to Rangers permanently, and Joshua Guilavogui left at the end of last season, reducing our midfield options from 5 to just 3. Longstaff doesn't just fill a gap, he elevates our entire midfield to a level we haven't seen in years. The Toon Academy product has been through the wars in the Premier League, facing relegation battles and European campaigns. That experience is priceless for a club like ours trying to get back to the top flight. He knows the intensity, the pressure, and most importantly, he knows how to handle it. David Ornstein broke the story on Tuesday night, and by Wednesday morning, the entire Leeds United fan base was buzzing. This is the kind of signing that gets you out of bed in the morning, knowing that serious players want to be part of our journey back to the Premier League. But hold on to your scarves, Whites, because this is just the beginning of what's shaping up to be the most explosive transfer window in recent memory. What I'm about to tell you next will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about our transfer budget. Now, this is where things get absolutely insane, Whites. While we're celebrating the Longstaff deal, the club has been working behind the scenes on a striker signing that would blow your minds. We're talking about Nikola Kristovic from Lecce, and the numbers involved are absolutely mental. Get this, Leeds United have submitted a $21.7 million bid for this Montenegro striker. That's almost as much as we paid for Jorginho Rudder, but here's the kicker that's going to make you spit out your tea. Lecce have rejected it. They want $34. $7 million. That's more than our club record fee. Kristovic has been on our radar for months, and while some sources kept saying we weren't interested, The Italian press has been screaming about our pursuit all summer long. Now we know why. Because we've been throwing serious money at this deal. $21.7 million for a striker from Serie A shows just how desperate we are to get a proper goal scorer through the door. This is Daniel Farke showing his hand. Whites! He's not messing about this summer. He knows we need firepower up front, and he's willing to break the bank to get it. The fact that we've bid that much money shows that the board is backing him with serious cash. But here's what's really interesting. There's been conflicting reports about our interest in Krstovic for weeks. Sources in England kept saying we weren't interested, but the Italian media has been relentless in linking us with him. Now we know the truth. We've been quietly working on this deal for weeks. The Montenegro international has been absolutely tearing it up in Serie A. He's got the pace, the power, and most importantly, the goals that we desperately need. But 34 oil, 7 million? That's serious money even for a club with our ambitions. Here's what's got me worried. If Lecce want nearly $35 million for Krstovic, where does that leave us? Are we gonna pay it? Are we gonna walk away? And if we do walk away, who's our plan B? Rodrigo Muniz from Fulham is still on the list. But you know he's not going to be cheap either. The clock is ticking, the season's approaching fast, and we still need to sort out Joe Gelhardt and Mateo Joseph's futures before we can bring in another striker. We got 4 strikers on the books with Joe Pyro, Patrick Bamford, and the newly signed Lucas Nmecha. But we need at least 2 to leave before we can bring in our big money target. But trust me, Whites, what I'm about to tell you next is happening right now as we speak. Hold on to your hats, Whites, because this final piece of news is unfolding in real time. While I'm sitting here talking to you, Anton Stach's literally sitting on the bench for Hoffenheim in a pre-season friendly, and his entire future is hanging in the balance. Stach has already agreed personal terms with Leeds United. The German international midfielder wants to come to Elland Road, and we're just waiting for the clubs to agree on a fee. But here's the mental part. Hoffenheim have included him in their squad for today's friendly against Sportfreunde Laufen. Can you imagine what's going through his head right now? He's agreed to join us. He probably wants to get on the first plane to Yorkshire, but he's stuck on a bench in Germany waiting for 2 clubs to shake hands on a deal. This is the kind of drama that makes transfer windows absolutely mental. The fact that he's only on the bench tells us everything we need to know. This deal is close. If Hoffenheim thought he was staying, he'd be starting, wouldn't he? But they know he's got 1 foot out the door and they're just managing the situation until it's official. Stach would be the perfect partner for Longstaff in midfield. A proper German international who knows how to control games and break up play. Combined with Longstaff's Premier League experience, we'd have a midfield that could compete with anyone in the championship. What makes this even more exciting is the connection to Hoffenheim. Remember where we got Jorginho Ruder from? That's right, Hoffenheim. We paid $35 million for him, and he turned out to be one of our best signings. If Stach is anything like Rudder in terms of quality, we're getting an absolute bargain. The German midfielder has been a key player for Hoffenheim in the Bundesliga, and the fact that he's choosing us over other options shows the pulling power that Leeds United still has. Players want to be part of our story. They want to help us get back to the Premier League. But here's what's really got me excited, Whites. If we get Stach and Longstaff, that's our midfield sorted. Then we can focus all our energy on getting that striker over the line, finding a new goalkeeper to replace Ilan Meslier, and replacing Manor Solomon, who's returned to Tottenham. This is Daniel Farke's vision coming together piece by piece. He's building a squad that can not just compete for promotion, but dominate the championship and stay in the Premier League when we get there. The fact that we're spending this kind of money shows that the board is fully behind his plan. So here's my question for you. Whites, are you ready for this level of ambition? Are you ready to see Leeds United spending $15 million on midfielders and bidding over $20 million for strikers? Because this is the new reality at Elland Road, and I absolutely love it. Hit that like button if you're as excited as I am about what's happening. Subscribe and let me know in the comments. Which signing are you most excited about? And do you think we should pay $35 million for Krstovic? Marching on together.